The air conditioning at Methodist Cathedral struggled against Lagos's sweltering heat, but it couldn't overcome the weight of 300 people dressed in black, packed onto mahogany pews. Chimamanda Nkechi Okonkwo adjusted the silk scarf around her neck, her fingers trembling slightly. Her mother's casket, polished dark mahogany with golden handles, rested on a platform draped in white and gold Ankara, surrounded by flower wreaths that released a sickening perfume mixed with the collective sweat of Nigeria's elite. She stared without truly seeing. Politicians whose scandals she had exposed wore solemn smiles in the front rows. Businessmen who embezzled public funds wiped away fake tears. Her mother would have despised all of this, the entire performance, the rehearsed hypocrisy. Adaeze Chidinma Okonkwo had built the Odinma Foundation with her own hands, transforming 200,000 borrowed nairas into a philanthropic empire that fed and educated thousands of children. And now these vultures wore mourning clothes to be photographed. Pastor Adelek raised his hands, his voice echoing through the columns. Adaeze was a beacon for the helpless, a mother to the fatherless. The cathedral's double doors burst open. A man staggered down the center aisle, his tattered clothes stained with red mud. He reeked of sewage and rancid sweat. People pulled away, covering their noses. Security guards emerged from the sides, but the beggar kept advancing, his glazed eyes fixed on the casket. "She's not dead!" His voice tore through the silence like fingernails on glass. "I saw her 3 days ago in Nuri. She was alive." Chaos erupted. Outraged screams. Chairs scraping against marble. The security guards grabbed the man by his arms, dragging him backward while he shouted. "The scar! She has a scar on her left shoulder, shaped like a crescent moon. I saw it!" Chimamanda froze. Nobody knew about that scar. Her mother had hidden it her entire life, the result of a childhood burn. Chimamanda had only seen it once, at 12 years old, when she'd walked into the bathroom without knocking. The beggar disappeared through the doors, his final scream dissolving into Lagos's humid morning. Pastor Adeleke wiped his forehead, attempting to resume the ceremony. Around Chimamanda, whispers multiplied like mosquitoes after rain. She looked at the front row, where Emeka Adebayo, the foundation's CFO, adjusted his Hermes tie with mechanical movements. His eyes met hers for a second. There was something there. Relief. Fear? Chimamanda pulled her phone from her black skirt pocket. Her fingers typed quickly. "I need that financial report. Today she was a journalist." She'd learned long ago that when something didn't make sense, it usually concealed a truth someone wanted, kept hidden. The burial took place under a merciless sun at Ikoyi Memorial Gardens. Chimamanda threw soil onto the sealed casket. She had insisted it remain closed, a final wish of Adaeze's, according to the lawyers. Another oddity on a growing list. Her mother had always been transparent, straightforward, no games. Back at the Victoria Island apartment, Chimamanda kicked off her Louboutin shoes, a birthday gift from her mother, and tossed them into a corner. The 10th floor view showed Lagos stretching to the horizon, mirrored skyscrapers, chaotic traffic, the grey Atlantic Ocean in the distance. She opened her laptop on the glass table. The email arrived at 7:47 p.m. Attachment, Odinma Foundation, Financial 2024, 2025. Excelesks. 3 hours later, Chimamanda was certain. Irregular transfers. 200 million nairas diverted over 6 months through shell companies. All authorizations digitally signed by Emeka, but with secondary approval from her mother? Impossible. Adaeze reviewed every receipt, every kobo. Chimamanda knew that obsession, born from the guilt of failing to save her biological daughter decades ago when she didn't have money for proper medical treatment. The intercom buzzed. Chimamanda answered absent-mindedly. "There's a man downstairs. Says he needs to speak with you about Mrs. Adaeze." She went down. The cathedral beggar stood on the sidewalk, 2 building security guards flanking him. In the lamppost light, Chimamanda recognized the features beneath the grime. "Obi?" Her heart raced. "Obi Namdi!" The Foundation's former driver nodded slightly. He'd been fired 3 months ago, a dismissal that never made sense. Obi had worked for Adiz for 15 years, loyal as a guard dog. Ani asked me not to tell anyone. His voice was hoarse. But now that if you believe she's truly dead, come in. Chimamanda dismissed the guards with a gesture. In the elevator, Obi's smell dominated the small space. Chimamanda breathed through her mouth. Inside the apartment, she pointed to the bathroom. Shower first. There are my boyfriend's clothes in the wardrobe. You can wear them. While the shower ran, she prepared tea. Her hands shook, pouring hot water. If you believe she's truly dead. The words echoed. Obi emerged 20 minutes later, clean, wearing a blue polo shirt and loose jeans. He looked 10 years younger. He accepted the tea, his hands wrapping around the mug. Your mother came to me in July, said she needed someone trustworthy, someone Emeka didn't control. He sipped slowly. She paid me 500,000 nairas to take her to Nri, secret trip. Made me swear I wouldn't tell anyone, not even you. Why? The word came out harsh. She was sick, Ogo, very sick. Talked about doctors, about time. I didn't understand everything. Obi looked at his tea. Told me to stay in the village, in a house she'd rented. To come get her when she needed to return. But then she vanished. Left a message saying she was returning to Lagos alone, that I shouldn't look for her. And you came to the funeral because when I arrived here yesterday and saw the billboards, the news, I knew something was wrong. I saw your mother a week ago, Ogo. 1 week. She was sick, yes, but alive. Very much alive, Chimamanda stood up. She walked to the window. Lagos pulsed below, millions of lives moving simultaneously, each carrying secrets. She had built a career uncovering buried truths. But this truth, if it really was true, Emeka's stealing from the Foundation. She didn't turn around. 200 million nairas in 6 months, with digital signatures from my mother. The silence behind her was heavy. Your mother discovered it in June. Obi's voice was low. That's why she came to me. She was planning something. Some way to protect the Foundation before she couldn't anymore. Chimamanda spun around. She faked her own death. It wasn't a question. The pieces assembled with brutal clarity. Adiz knew she was dying. She knew Emeka was stealing. And she knew the law. The founder's death triggered automatic Foundation audit. 6 months of mandatory investigation before any assets could be transferred. We need to go to Nri. Chimamanda was already grabbing her phone, searching for flights. Now, they're following you. Obi stood up. I was beaten this afternoon by 2 men. They told me to forget what I saw, that if I talked to you, they'd kill me. Chimamanda photographed the bruises on his face. Then we'll drive. Leave at dawn. The journey to Anambra took 7 hours on potholed roads. Passing through Benin City and Asaba, Chimamanda drove her mother's Camry. She'd taken the keys from Adiz's apartment, along with a forgotten envelope in a drawer containing an address in Nri, written in Igbo, Ulo Enke Udo, House of Peace. The interior was different from Lagos, greener, quieter, the air less heavy. Iroko trees lined the road. Yam sellers waved at stops. Obi navigated using his phone, indicating directions, while high-life music played softly on the radio. Your mother talked about you a lot that week. He broke the silence as they entered Nri at noon. Said you were the daughter she couldn't save, reborn, that you were stronger than she'd ever been. Chimamanda gripped the steering wheel. She never told me that. Nini wasn't one for words of love, but for actions, yes. The house sat on a quiet street, surrounded by low walls covered in purple bougainvillea. Adapted traditional Igbo architecture, zinc roof, brick walls painted terracotta, spacious veranda. The gate was unlocked. Chimamanda got out of the car, her legs trembling. She crossed the small garden where chickens scratched, climbed the 3 veranda steps. The door opened before she could knock. Adize Chidinma Okonkwo was alive, too thin. Her once radiant skin now grayish, deep shadows under her eyes, but alive. Her eyes, those same dark eyes that had looked at Chimamanda for the first time at the orphanage 18 years ago, glistened with tears. And why, my child? Chimamanda couldn't move. Anger, relief, confusion, love, everything collided in her chest like a traffic accident. How could you? The words came out strangled. How could you do this to me? Adi stepped back, gesturing inside. Come in, please. The living room was simple. Floral fabric sofas, wooden table, ceiling fans spinning lazily. The smell of ofen sala, fish soup, drifted from the kitchen. Edais walked slowly to the sofa, lowering herself with the care of someone carrying constant pain. Pancreatic cancer. She went straight to the point. Terminal. 3 months when I found out in May. I refused chemotherapy. I've seen too many people waste away like that, and you didn't think I should know? Chimamanda remained standing, arms crossed. Emeka was stealing. I discovered it by accident in June, reviewing old reports. 250 million nairas had already vanished, and he was preparing to transfer everything, all the foundation's assets, to shell companies as soon as I died. Adais coughed, a deep cough that shook her fragile body. Nigerian law is clear. Founder's death triggers automatic audit. 6 months of investigation, but only if the death is publicly certified. So you staged your own funeral. I paid the doctor to sign the death certificate. Used an unidentified body from the morgue. Abandoned girl, no family. Gave her the burial she deserved in her name and my daughter's that I lost. Adais wiped her eyes. The audit's already begun. Emeka can't touch the funds for 6 months. Enough time for federal police to investigate. And me? Chimamanda's voice cracked. I buried you today, Nane. I threw soil on your coffin. I cried over your grave. I know. Adais's tears flowed freely now. And I'm sorry. So sorry, NWAM. But if I'd told you, you would have wanted to protect me. You would have investigated publicly. And Emeka would have disappeared with the money before we could stop him. 47 orphanages depend on this foundation. 3,400 children. I couldn't risk it. Chimamanda sat down. Her legs wouldn't hold her anymore. How long do you have? Weeks, maybe days. The pain's getting worse. So you plan to die alone here. I plan to die in peace, knowing my legacy was protected. That you'd be fine. That the children would be safe. You abandoned me again. The words came out raw, dragging 18 years of buried fear with them. Just like when I was 5 and woke up alone in that orphanage. Just like when I'd lie awake at night those first years here, scared you'd give up on me too. Adais extended her hand. Chimamanda didn't take it. I never abandoned you, Chimamanda. I chose you. When I saw that 10-year-old girl at Odinma Orphanage, reading alone in a corner while other children played, I saw my daughter I'd lost. I saw the girl I'd been, always watching, always on the outside. I chose you every day since then. But you didn't choose me now. You chose to die alone. I chose to protect you. And thousands of other children. The silence stretched. Obi had stayed on the veranda, giving them privacy. The fan spun, marking time. Chimamanda finally looked, truly looked, at her mother. She saw now what she hadn't seen before. The brutal courage of that choice. Adais had orchestrated her own death not from despair, but from fierce love. Love for the children who depended on her. Love for the daughter she was trying to protect, even if incorrectly. What do you need from me? Chimamanda asked quietly. Publish the story. You're a journalist. Expose Emeka before he finds some legal loophole. But protect my privacy. Let me die in peace here. No. Adais blinked, surprised. I won't let you die alone. Chimamanda stood up. I'll expose Emeka. I'll protect the foundation. But I'm staying here with you until the end. Chimamanda, you don't abandon me again. And I don't abandon you. And that's my choice. Adais closed her eyes. When she opened them, there was surrender there. And gratitude. So stubborn. Just like me. Oh, worse than you. For the first time in days, Adaizi smiled. The following days were a delicate dance between journalism and caregiving. Chimamanda set up an office at the kitchen table, laptop open, phone ringing constantly. Obi stayed too, cooking, keeping the house running. Dr. Ngozi Achebe, the physician who'd signed the false certificate, came twice daily to administer morphine. Chimamanda worked meticulously. She spoke with accountants, obtained protected documents, built an irrefutable case. Emeka had stolen 250 million nairas, planning to steal 800 million more once the assets were released. He'd bought mansions in Abuja and Dubai, a $500,000 Mercedes. She wrote the article in 3 days, 5,000 devastating words. She sent it to the Guardian Nigeria editor with one condition: they'd publish under her name, but without mentioning that Adaize was still alive. The real victim was the foundation, the children. Her mother's private life would remain private. The afternoon the article was published online, Chimamanda read it aloud to Adaize, who rested on the sofa wrapped in blankets despite the heat. The ghost who saved 3,000 children, how Adaize Okonkwo protected her legacy beyond death. Adaize laughed softly, a laugh that turned into a cough. Too dramatic. Perfect. The impact was immediate. Federal police arrested Emeka the next morning. Other complicit executives were detained. Assets frozen, investigations opened. Social media exploded. Justice for Odinma trended nationally. People Adaize had helped years ago appeared on TV, crying, sharing stories. But in Nri, life moved slowly. Chimamanda cooked ofe nsala, trying to replicate her mother's recipe. It never came out the same, but Adaize ate it anyway, praising each attempt. They talked, conversations they'd never had before, about the daughter Adaize had lost, about the years of guilt that had motivated her, about Chimamanda's loneliness at the orphanage, the fear of never being enough. You were always enough. Adaize held her hand, her fingers cold. From day one, I just didn't know how to express it. Me neither, Chimamanda squeezed back. I always thought if I was perfect, you wouldn't abandon me. So I built walls. You inherited that from me. At least I inherited something good too. Your stubbornness, they laughed together. One evening, Adaize asked Chimamanda to bring a box from the wardrobe. Inside old photographs, a baby girl with chubby cheeks. My Chidera died at 8 months from malaria. Adru, worse than you. For the first time in days, Adaize smiled. We didn't have money for private hospital. The public one had no medicines. Adaize touched the photo with reverence. I swore no mother would go through that if I could prevent it. And thousands didn't, because of you. Because of us. You'll continue, NWAM. The foundation needs someone with your courage and integrity. I'm a journalist, not an administrator. You're my daughter. You are whatever you choose to be. Adaize died on an October morning when the sun had barely risen. Chimamanda was holding her hand. Dr. Ngozi was there. Obi prayed softly in Igbo on the veranda. It was peaceful. Adaize opened her eyes one last time, saw Chimamanda, whispered, "Nwami Oma, my good child," and departed. Chimamanda didn't cry immediately. She just held that cold hand, memorizing every detail. The crescent moon-shaped scar on the shoulder that had started everything. The expression lines around the eyes. The coral necklace she never removed. This time the funeral was small, private. Only people who truly loved Adaize. She was buried in Nri, in Igbo soil, beside a century-old Iroko. No politicians, no performance, no hypocrisy. Chimamanda threw soil on the real grave now. And finally she wept 6 months later. The Odinma Foundation headquarters in Victoria Island had been renovated. On the walls, large photographs, children smiling in school uniforms, university graduates, teachers in new classrooms. In the center of the lobby, a photograph of Adaize at 50, smiling with that rare and genuine smile. Chimamanda crossed the lobby, wearing blue and gold ankara, leather sandals, her mother's coral necklace around her neck, hair braided in traditional pattern. She no longer looked like the skeptical journalist from 6 months ago. There was softness in her shoulders, purpose in her steps. Ogo! Obi waved from reception, now working as operations manager. The board is waiting. The conference room overlooked Lagos, that same chaotic and vibrant city her mother had loved. 12 board members, including former foundation children who were now doctors, engineers, teachers. Chimamanda had restructured everything after taking over as executive director. Good morning, everyone. She opened her laptop. We have excellent news. With the return of stolen funds and new donations after the scandal exposure, we've increased our budget by 40%. This means the meeting flowed for 2 hours. Plans for 3 new orphanages. Expanded university scholarships. Mentorship program for teenagers. When it ended, Chimamanda stayed alone for a few minutes, looking out the window. Lagos pulsed below. Yellow danfos zigzagged through traffic. Street vendors carried goods on their heads. Afrobeats music played from some car. Life happening, relentless. Her phone vibrated. Message from a 16-year-old girl named Zainab from the Kano orphanage. I passed the medicine entrance exam. Thank you, Auntie Chima. Chimamanda smiled, her eyes burning. She replied, your mother Adais would be so proud. I am. She pocketed the phone. Touched the coral necklace. Adais had been right. Legacy wasn't in accumulated money or constructed buildings. It was in Zainab studying medicine, in 3,400 children sleeping safely every night. In Chimamanda finally understanding that belonging didn't mean being perfect, it meant being chosen and choosing back. Her mother had died twice, one fake to save thousands, one real in peace, knowing her work would continue. And it would continue. Through Chimamanda, through every child the foundation touched, through every transformed life. Chimamanda grabbed her bag, turned off the office lights. On her way out, she stopped before Adai's photograph in the lobby. She touched the glass lightly. Nay, we made it, and we'll keep making it. Outside, Lagos awaited, noisy, chaotic, imperfect, vibrant, alive. Like her mother. Like everyone who chooses to rise every day and fight for something greater than themselves. Chimamanda walked through the door into the humid afternoon heat, shoulders back, smile on her lips, heart full. Ready for the work Adais had begun and that she now carried forward. Not as a burden, as a gift, as a choice. As love. What city are you watching from? Drop a comment below. If this story touched your heart, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more stories celebrating African strength, love, and resilience.